Hi there and welcome. If you are preparing for the CAPM exam and feel unsure about where to start or how to structure your study time, you're not alone. Most people feel overwhelmed by all the domain areas and topics and tasks to be covered. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple, effective study plan that fits your schedule. Whether you've got 2 months or 3 months, or whatever amount of time you plan to prepare for the exam, you can use this study plan to assist you in preparing for the exam. The study plan helps you to hold yourself accountable, and it also helps to keep you organized. So let's get into how to create a study plan for the CAPM exam. These are some of the things that we will be discussing. For example, why it is necessary to have a study plan, knowing the exam structure, and we'll also provide some tips to help you in developing your study plan. Why you need a study plan? A study plan helps to keep you organized. It also ensures full coverage of all exam domain topics. It guarantees that all topics are reviewed, and it prevents you from missing out on important areas. The study plan also helps you to track progress and to avoid having to cram at the last minute. It allows for regular assessment of your study progress, and it reduces last minute stress and rush. By having a study plan, it provides a clear plan that you can follow, and therefore this helps to boost your self-assurance through preparation. These are some of the benefits of having a study plan. It is good that you should know the structure of the CAPM exam, and if you're in the CAPM by now, you should know that there are 4 domain areas. The CAPM exam consists of 150 multiple choice questions, and the CAPM exam is 3 hours in duration. Now, the CAPM exam covers 4 domain areas. You have project management, fundamentals, and core concepts, and that domain is responsible for 36% of the questions on the exam. You also have predictive plan-based methodologies that's responsible for 17% of the exam. We have Agile frameworks that make up 20% of the exam, and we also have business analysis frameworks that make up 27% of the exam. So this is how the exam is structured, and this is very important that you know how the exam is structured so that you can plan your time accordingly. 36% of the exam is a big percentage, and therefore you would want to place some emphasis on an area that accounts for such a large part of the exam. Now let's take a look at study requirements. Students often ask, how long should it take to prepare for the exam? And I oftentimes see videos and so forth where I see students or some people come online and say that they took the exam in 2 weeks and they passed and so forth. Well, everyone is different. But for most candidates, you would need about 2 to 4 months of preparation time to be adequately prepared for the CAPM exam. And I wouldn't advise that you try to do it in 1 week or 2 weeks, as you may see some people posting up online. You should take your time and prepare for the exam. The exam is a very rigorous exam, and therefore you should prepare adequately for the exam. The total study time required for the exam is about 40 to 60 hours, depending on how you structure your time. You could plan maybe for about 5 hours a week of study time, and if you break it down that way, then it should take you about 3 months to prepare. If you have more time, then you can target between 7 to 10 hours per week, and in that case it may take you somewhere between 1.5 to 2 months. But typically it will take you between 2 to 4 months to adequately prepare yourself to sit the exam, and I wouldn't advise you to try to do it in a shorter space of time, especially if you're very busy, you're working, and you do not have the time to dedicate to the exam. One of the first things that you may want to do is to set a target date for your exam. You decided that you're going to sit the exam, you should set a date when you would like to take the exam. And you should align the date with your availability. So select a date that fits with your schedule, ensure it matches your pace. Set a realistic test date. Consider your work and your life commitments, all the things that you would have to take into consideration while preparing for the exam. It is good that you should mark the date on your calendar, keep track of the chosen date, set weekly goals. So you should set some goals. This is what I want to achieve each week. And you can use backwards planning to work out your weekly study goals. One of the first things that you should do is you should say, I would want to take the exam by this time or by that time, and therefore you plan backwards. I'll just provide an example, and again, this is just for an example. You do not have to try to force your study schedule into what I'm about to present. You can say a 15-week study plan, and this helps to keep you on track, as we said before. You try to study 3 to 5 hours per week. It's very important that you try to remain consistent. So you try to be consistent. Even if it is 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever your schedule will allow, you try to be consistent. Don't allow large gaps in between your study time. Your total study hours, as we said before, is recommended that you try to target 40 to 60 hours. Some people may be able to get it done in a shorter amount of time, but this is the recommended amount of time. And this is just an example. You need not try to fit your study schedule into what I'm presenting here. This is just an example. But for example, you can say week 1, you have an overview of the CAPM exam. You get a full understanding of what is required. You set up your study plan and so forth. So you take the first week to do that. Week 2 to 5, you cover the domain 1, which is the project management fundamentals. And I want to say it is a good practice that you do practice questions while you prepare. You would also see that I have week 2 to 5, domain 1 practice questions. For week 2 to 5, you cover the topics, and as you cover the topics, you also do your practice questions. Week 6 to 8, you do domain 2, which is predictive plan-based methodologies, and again, you do your practice questions. Weeks 8 to 10, you can do adaptive agile frameworks, and again, while you're preparing, you're doing your practice questions. Weeks 10 to 12, you can do domain 4, which is the business analysis frameworks, and again, you're doing your practice questions as you prepare. Week 13, you can do a mixed topic review, so you choose from among the different domains just to make sure that you have a full understanding of all the topic areas, and you try to focus on your areas of weakness, and by then it would be evident where you're weak. Week 14, it might be good for you to do a full-length mock exam, and you try to do it under exam conditions, and you try to get as much as you can get correct. And again, in week 15, you can do maybe a second mock exam to see how you're going. But this, as I said before, is just an example of how you can plan your study. You allocate 1 to 2 hours per day if that is possible. For some people, that may not be possible. If it is just 30 minutes per day, then you work with that. You include review time, so you assess your understanding of the material. You do practice questions. This would help you to enhance your problem solving skills. You should also do revision and note taking, which would help to consolidate the knowledge that you're gaining. Step 4 is that you should track your progress. We have designed a study planner and tracker, which I would like to share with you for free. You can download the planner using the link in the description section. Our study planner and progress tracker tracks your study progress and your study goals. It is pre-filled with every domain and task from the 2023 CAPM exam content outline, which is the current CAPM exam content outline. You'll be able to see how you're progressing as you move along. You can put in your goal dates, your completion tracking, automatic status updates. These are all things that you can get from our planner. As we said before, you can download this study planner using this link. The link will be provided in the description section. I'll just provide you with a demonstration of how the tracker actually works. So in this area here, you will put in your planned date that you intend to sit the CAPM exam. Here you will put in your planned study completion date, by the time by which you plan to complete your studies. And you will see that we have a progress bar at the top here that provides you with your actual progress as you go through the different topics. In this area here, you will insert your planned study date. For example, let's say I plan to complete the first item there on 04/25/25, and I actually completed it on 04/26/25. Now, right away, you will see that there's a change, all right? And if I look at the status, you will see that it said that I completed this item late. It gives you an idea as to how you're going with your topics. Let's just take another example. For example, if I planned to complete this item here on 04/26/25, and I was able to actually get it done on 04/24/25, you'll see right away that there's a change, and it says to me that I was able to complete this item. I'm on track. Ideally, you would want to see as much green as possible in this item. Just make sure that you're on track with your studies, but don't get downhearted if you are not able to complete all of it on time. The whole idea is to keep you accountable and to keep you focused on the topics. I'll just show you how it works. Let's just say I were to spread this out here. Now all of this would be on track because I'm starting off on track. You would notice here that all of a sudden it has changed and the progress bar has changed. So it now tells me that I've completed 11% of the topics. This is based on the CAPM exam content outline, and as you fill this in, it gives you an idea as to how you're going with your studies, how you're covering the different topics. All of the topics here are taken from the CAPM exam content outline, okay? And therefore you can plan your studies accordingly. We have an instructions page to help you to fill this in. You can download the study planner in the description section. The next tip that we want to provide is that you should practice. Take at least 2 full-length practice exams before actually sitting the CAPM exam. Now, there are a lot of resources out there. You have simulators where you can get simulation exams, but I want to point you to our course on Udemy. We have a course, the Ultimate CAPM Exam Prep Course, and if you haven't selected a course as yet, this is a good course for you. Within this course, we have 2 full-length practice exams. So you can use the 2 full-length practice exams within our course on Udemy, the Ultimate CAPM Exam Prep Course, to help you to prepare. But as I said before, there are other resources out there, and you can use the other resources. But review all questions, especially the ones that you get incorrect, and use as much resources as you possibly can to help you to prepare. You can get access to our course on Udemy using this link. The link will also be provided in the description section. These are all things that would help you. Final tips for success. Consistency is key. Study for at least 30 minutes a day if you can. Should aim for a bit more, maybe an hour a day if it is possible. Daily review. Use the CAPM exam prep questions to help you to review the topics as you cover them. Use a variety of methods in your study. So you can incorporate videos, flashcards, quizzes, and other methods to help you to grasp the material as best as you possibly can. And it is also important that you should take breaks. So don't try to cram everything in all at once. You take a break, you cover a topic, you take a break, and you reward yourself for progress. You celebrate your successes and you reward yourself for progress. These are just some of the tips that we have to help you to succeed. And as I said before, you can download the study planner using the link provided in the description section. Use this tool that is free to help you to organize and to hold yourself accountable in preparing for the CAPM exam. Thank you. See you again soon.